Well, welcome everyone who's here live tonight on our Zoom event or watching us live on Facebook tonight, since we're live streamed at the Baldwinsville Public Library Facebook page. And or if you're catching us on replay, we're delighted you found us. Tonight we'll be creating some fun cards, and I'm going to share some different tips and tricks using some tools. And we're excited to look forward towards September as well. September 9th will be our next class, and that will also be a Zoom class. So Julia and I are partnering and excited and hopeful that in October we can return to the library meeting in person. But we know that for September we're going to go forward with our Zoom class. So you'll still be able to reserve and pick up your kit from the library. And I've already excited about some things we're going to do that in September. So I wanted to give you a quick little sneak peek at our penguins. These are some really fun design series paper projects. And so we'll be making a variety of these next month, but using the different penguin pails. There's snowmen and polar bears and little fox dressed up with scarves. So they're a lot of fun.
So cute.
And this is one of my favorite layouts. That's just a really simple way, using a 1/2 sheet of cardstock, how you can create a really engaging fold by cutting and adhering, and then embellishing it with lots of fun stuff. So that's a little sneak peek of our penguins. Here's one more look at another penguin project. We've made this box in the past, but it's such a fun one. I believe we'll do it again in September. And feature with these penguins. It's a 1-sheet flip top box that's all just made with one 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And I love how it folds, and so it's all, the lid is connected, and then you can embellish with stamped images or designer series paper. It's a perfect little size for some fudge or saltwater taffy or stamping supplies or what have you. But we'll have a lot of fun with the penguins next month. And they're not just for Christmas time, really, too. You can make them with balloons and for birthday celebrations. And so we'll have fun playing with that in September. That's September 9th. But tonight, we're going to be working on 3 cards from your kit. We're going to start off with the kit that has the strawberries. And the finished card will look something like this. And I'm sorry, my camera seems to be a little fuzzy tonight.
Your hands are good, though.
My hands are clear enough?
Yeah, they're clear.
Okay. It may just be on my screen that it looks a little bit fuzzy. But this is the strawberry card uses some designer series paper, and we're going to be fussy cutting tonight to cut out the little strawberries and flowers. And you'll see we have a bow. So I wanted to start off by reminding us about the fork bow technique. This is actually a hair pick, and what I loved about it, I found this recently at the dollar store. Real Deals here in Baldwinsville and the Dollar Tree has surprise selections all the time. It's kind of like a treasure hunt when I go there. And I was fortunate to find this one. Had the hair pick with 6 tines, but then also this extended comb, because depending on how far apart you loop the ribbon, you can make your bow larger or smaller. So I'm going to demonstrate making one that's a little bit larger than the one we have on our card here, and you can decide how you'd like to make your bow. If you don't have a hair pick or a fork handy, you know that you can tie it like you're tying your shoe. Sometimes people make fake bows, and they just kind of loop ribbon like this and tape it or glue it, so even though it's not tied, it's just kind of looped. I love to make bows, but I know that it's probably the thing people ask me for the most help with, learning different strategies. So in this case, we're going to use the large part of the comb that has many tines. So you want to count an even number of tines. And in this case, we're going to start, I figured out I could do
Oh, lost your voice.
Yeah, I thought it was just me.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah. Nope, we lost your voice, Missy.
an even number, and that way there's a middle point where there will be 5 tines to the right and 5 tines to the left. Now, I like to call this a hope ribbon, where, you know, when there are ribbons, pins that people wear to show support for different charities and organizations, I call that a hope ribbon. So you'll see I'm crossing it over and making an X here, okay? So now I'm going to take the ribbon that's on the top, and I'm going to feed it through the tines underneath the ribbon. So it's going through that hole. I'm tucking it in, and I'm going to wrap it around over the top and then tie a knot. And I just want to have that be nice and tight before I slide it off the hair pick. I want this knot to be snug, and then I pull it off, and there I have my ribbon, my bow that's tied, and it won't come untied. That's a cool thing about using this particular technique, is the bow won't come untied. It also means that your bows can be a standard size. So if you were making 100 favors for a wedding or a baby shower or something, you could start with the ribbon, cut to the length that you wished, and then each time you made it, it would be a universal size. So this one is a little bit larger than the one I had on my card. You can see there. So it just depends on how many times you go across. You can use a fork, like a serving fork that has wide tines, or look around for these hair picks that you can frequently find at those Dollar Tree kind of discount stores.
Cool.
Okay. Any questions about that? Well, go ahead, and you'll want to pull out your envelope that has the red in it. It's called Poppy Parade, the Stampin' Up! Color Poppy Parade. It's a beautiful bold red, and I've die cut this for you using dies called Picture This. And what's fun is they just create these little windows that you can then stamp inside, or in our case tonight, we'll be adding our designer series paper. Now, as you remember, designer series paper has two different sides, different patterns on each side. So you can kind of fool around. This one is a lot of fun because it looks like strawberry seeds. So you might want to add that, but I chose to do the opposite side to give a little more contrast to the red cardstock. So this red piece that I've pre-cut for you with the die cut machine, it has some stitching along it. It's kind of subtle, but that's the top. The back side, you can see it's not as defined, that stitching. So that's the back. And the back is where we'll put the adhesive so that we can adhere the designer series paper. I'm going to start this bottom layer. If you have any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself. You can ask me questions. I can't see the chat right now. Let me see. I think I can get that.
Can you hear us though?
I can. Can you hear me okay as well?
We can hear you. We lost your sound for a little bit, and then we weren't sure if you could hear us.
Okay, I can hear you again now. I do apologize. It seems to be a little, it says my high CPU usage is affecting me. So somehow there's things happening on my, because I'm using the laptop and the monitor. But interrupt if you need to help me slow down or confirm a step, okay? So what we're going to do is then I put adhesive on the Poppy Parade paper, and then I'm going to just put that across on the back side of the paper, so it's going to peek through that window. And I'll do the same for each piece, the top and the middle. And so I'm going to put a little adhesive. Using my multi-purpose Tombow tonight, you could use any kind of adhesive that you have that's quick drying, and we'll go ahead. You could use glue dots. You could also use the dimensionals to pop up these layers, and we'll be using these on our strawberry pieces tonight. So let's see. Oh, I did it a little differently. Yep, so this is matching what my sample looks like. And now I want to just finish up by adding that plaid in the middle. So my adhesive will go, again, I can put a little bit at the top. This window in the middle is less tall, so I have room to put some at the top less room at the sides and more room at the top. There we are. It's pretty on this side too, isn't it, with those papers? And we flip it over, and now we've got this kind of peekaboo pattern. We can add that to the white cardstock base. This is our basic white cardstock that's scored at 5.5 to make a tall card, or what we might call a portrait card versus landscape. All right. There we are, like so. And now we just want to do a little bit of a sentiment. And the one I'm using tonight is from the stamp set called Welcoming Window. This has some lovely sentiments. My favorite is Sending Sunshine for a Beautiful Birthday. But on our little circle tonight, we're going to use the one that says My Sweet Friend. And this is great, the My Sweet Friend, because it is strawberries are sweet, right? So it kind of connects with the theme of the fruit. So we'll ink up with our Tuxedo Memento ink. I'm going to stamp My Sweet Friend on the little circle. So if you have a stamp, you can go ahead and add an image, a sentiment to your circle, or you can handwrite someone's name or a little message, or you can leave that off and just have it be a card that's ready to share for any occasion. Just leave it blank. I'm going to add that here off to the right a little bit. And then the fun part, you know that I like to fussy cut. Not everybody does, and it's nice that we have tools like punches and die cutting machines, but fussy cutting for me is very relaxing. What I'm going to do, you'll notice I'm moving the paper, not the scissors, and that gives me good control. And as you're working along with me tonight, you don't have to keep up. If you want to, watch tonight and see how the cards are assembled, and then you can complete them on your own time, and you could go back and watch the video for any other tips and tricks. Because in order to share our projects, I usually work along at a pretty quick pace, but I find this very satisfying, the fussy cutting. It's a relaxing thing for me. A lot of people like to watercolor. They find that relaxing, and science has shown that crafting like this is good for our bodies because it helps us slow down and focus and relax. So you don't want to rush. This is something fun to do too. A lot of people fussy cut during the commercials when they're watching television. And a lot of crafters like this still connect with their family, maybe in the evenings by watching television programs together or a movie, but they also like to have their hands busy, right? We tend to enjoy working on crafting projects. Some people like to work with knitting and macrame or crochet, and my grandmother was an excellent knitter, and thankfully we have many sweaters that she made for my boys when they were little. We've been able to pass them on to cousins. But I never got past the pot holder stage with knitting. I don't know about you. There we are. So everybody should have 2 strawberries in your kit, different colors. And I have a leaf. Gonna just fussy cut. Question?
2 leaves? Are they both with this one?
I think I just had one. So I just had 1 leaf in a kit, and then 2 strawberries and 3 little flowers. Not sure exactly. I think most of them had that combination. And similar to the penguins, there is a punch that coordinates with the strawberry stamp set. And then the penguins have a stamp set and a coordinating punch. And then also that really fun designer series paper. So for people who enjoy fussy cutting, paper like this from Stampin' Up! Is so much fun because you can cut out all the little critters, or for tonight, in this case, we're cutting out the fruit and the flowers. And then we're going to kind of just create a collage effect here to build up the design around our greeting. So I'm going to start by adhering the leaf with some glue. Just kind of tuck that there. I want it to show up a little bit, so I'm making sure it shows over the red. And then I have, let's see, I'll put my larger berry. I'm going to use some dimensionals for this one. So in your kit, there should be some of these mini dimensionals, and they're great. They can fit in tiny spots. They are strong, so I sometimes overdo it, put more than necessary, but you really can't have too many of these guys. So I'll add that pinkish strawberry there. Remember, yours are going to be a little bit different colors than mine, maybe. And we'll have another strawberry. I love the combination of the pinks and the reds. When I was growing up, there were different color rules, I think. People didn't like to wear red and pink together, and then also orange, like orange and red people didn't like to wear together. But now I think those rules are looser, and I love to wear those bright, cheerful colors together. Blue. So these little remind me of little forget-me-nots, the little blue flowers. And I'm just using the dimensionals to build them up in a collage fashion. There. My sweet friend. So this one's ready to share. It could be for a birthday or a thinking of you, just a good friendly card. Thank you, happy birthday. All occasion, and especially nice during the summer months when it's the strawberry season. Did any of you go strawberry picking and blueberry picking this season?
No, I didn't this
maybe
year.
Phil,
Usually do.
I didn't get any myself. I bought them at the store. I didn't buy any.
Yeah.
I didn't pick any this year, but I do enjoy being out. Now, what's missing here? What did I forget to add to our card before we move to the next one?
A bow.
The ribbon, yes. So I'm going to do another one, this time using the top of the bow, just so you can see me working with this again tonight. So there's an even number of tines, so I'm going to wrap around the full comb, make that hope cross. Whatever one is on top is the one that's going to do all the work. It's going to go through the hole. Whoops. Through the hole and then around the top. This is where you kind of pull it to give it a little tightness and make the knot, sorry. It's always trickier to do this kind of thing on camera, but I'm hopeful that it will help you learn how to use the hair pick to make bows. All right, so we've tied that, we slide it off. Did I do that correctly? I think so. Just a little awkward the way the tails are hanging tonight. There we go. And then I'm going to trim it so the tails aren't quite as long. And then I can put it onto my card. I'm going to use one of the mini glue dots to help me position that. Like this. And then I can tuck it right up here so I can still see my greeting like that, my sweet friend.
Cool.
Terrific. Okay, so that's our first card tonight, our strawberry one. And next we'll go ahead and do one that uses the kit like this. It has a whole bunch of supplies in it and has these fireflies in your envelope. And some of your fireflies will be coral. Others of you have blue or green ones. Okay, but it's the same stuff inside your kit. Now this one is a fun project that I thought we would be able to experiment together some different ideas. And so you have some choices tonight. There are 3 card bases, kind of like postcards here. So this was part of a paper pumpkin kit last summer, and it was designed to be used as like a summer party invitation. And it didn't have full card bases. It had just these postcard layers. So you can see they look like the night sky, starry sky, and maybe a sunset kind of mood. And so there are 3 of these, and you can choose to make 3 separate cards like this, or
Did we lose video?
We lost her sound again.
Yeah.
it's coming in and out tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here. So if you choose to make, what I'm going to be making tonight is the one that has the 3 pieces connected, sort of a triptych design. But you can choose, if you would prefer, to make 3 separate postcard pieces. Okay? So to make the 3 pieces connected, what we're going to do is use our 2 pieces of cardstock that are scored. They're white rectangles, and they have a score line in the middle. We're going to fold on that score line, and that's going to act as a hinge. Okay, so we have 2 of those. We have that like a hinge. And then what we'll do is use those with adhesive to connect the 3 pieces. So here are my 3 in a row, like this. And I'm going to take the hinge with some adhesive and hold, lock together those 2 pieces, and then I'll do the same for the other part. So what I have to do is put some adhesive on the inside of the hinge in both places, both sides, and then I'll position my card right up to that seam, that score line, and I'll do the same for the next one. So it just has that little bit of white in the center there where the score line is. And you'll see that's going to be able to fold. We're going to have to hold this and put some pressure on there. If you're using the Tombow multi-purpose adhesive, it takes a little time to kind of grab the fibers of the paper. So we're pushing to keep that held in place. All right, now we're going to do the same thing for the 3rd window here, the 3rd part of the triptych. And let me just clear that a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add my...
How wide are those white strips, Missy? Because I don't have any.
Are they not in your envelopes?
No, mine's not. I can
Okay.
have some. That's not a biggie.
Do other people have them?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Jean, I'm sorry, yours is missing.
That's okay.
It's 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches.
I had to double check. They were in the bottom of my envelope and had trouble coming out, but double check.
Okay. I'm glad you found them. Yes, double check, Jean, but it's 3.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and then it's scored at 3/4 inch in the center. You could make it shorter or longer. This just seemed to be a good dimension, top and bottom, to hold it securely. So I'm going to, again, put some adhesive on both parts and put that up against the seam. And I'm kind of eyeballing so that there's a pretty equal distance at the top and the bottom. I'm not worrying about precision with that, but I'm wanting it to be pretty centered in the card. Notice I'm pushing and kind of burnishing here to help the glue stick. And then I'll put the next one nearby, just leaving that little score line in between. Pushing hard here. Okay. And then I'll do the same as I did before. I'm going to lift it up and push with my fingers to help that lock.
I'm thinking of doing it the long way.
Say that again?
I'm thinking of doing it the long way.
So they'd be tall in this direction?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would be cool, yeah. That would be very interesting. So I don't have other pieces to demonstrate that, but that's a cool idea. So instead of having the portrait pieces, it would be the landscape, and that would be very cool. All right, so here's where we get to play around. I thought it was fun just to have elements from this kit to experiment with. And so your card may likely come out differently from mine, and you might have other elements from your stash that you want to include. But you'll see in your kit you have this fun merry-go-round and roller coaster piece. Okay, we have a jar, a mason jar that can be like a firefly, a jar of fireflies. You got lots of little fireflies, and some can be in your jar if you want, or they can be all fluttering about it. There's different colors of your fireflies. And then we have these little lanterns. Now, let's see if I can find them. Okay. So there should be a variety of colors and sizes here. And when I was experimenting with this, I decided I could make it be a stand-up card where the lanterns were hanging. So first I'm going to put this merry-go-round in place because I know I want that to be over on this side, and I'll get that secure so we can kind of balance things out. I'm going to use these mini dimensionals. Okay, like this, to pop up the merry-go-round and roller coaster on one side. And I love that you can think how you can personalize this for your own display in your home or to give to someone special. So this is popped up now. And then I pretty much know how I want this side to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get those faces off. Now, this is made of vellum. And vellum is translucent, so you'll be able to see through it. And that provides a challenge to crafters because we don't want our adhesive to show behind. So the trick I'm going to teach you with that is we're going to put our adhesive where it will be covered up by the fireflies. So let's put a couple fireflies in place on the jar first. Okay, like this. And then now I can put adhesive behind the jar, behind those fireflies, or lightning bugs. Tell me what you call them. You can write it in the chat or speak out to tell me, did you grow up catching lightning bugs or fireflies?
Fireflies.
Fireflies?
Fireflies.
They're really magical. There were a lot this summer. A couple weeks ago, we have a pretty path near where we live that I was walking on. And oh my goodness, I don't remember seeing as many here. I remember seeing them lots and lots as a child when I'd visit my grandparents in Connecticut. But I don't ever remember here in New York seeing as many as I did this year. So now I'm going to put another little guy on here like this. Okay. So we have some fireflies, and you can put more on. You can kind of tuck them as if they've been caught in the jar. I'm going to keep them outside of the jar for right now. And then what we're going to do next is this, this lantern stringing, okay? Now, if you want, you'd be able to just secure them right to your card. But the trick I want to share with you is how we can have them be suspended. So the blue string that's in your kit is longer than we need, so I'm going to cut it in half. It would measure about 10 to 11 inches, and we cut it in half. Okay? And maybe we can, if you can mute anybody that has other conversations, it'll be easier to hear. So now I have a piece of twine that's half the length. It's about 12 inches. And I'm going to string the lanterns. Now, when I was playing with this idea, I didn't like how it flipped over and you could just see the white side, but I decided to let it go, right? And because I think the effect of having them hang is really cool. But if you wanted to, you could lock them down with, secure them with Stampin' Dimensionals, and that way they wouldn't turn. But for me, I liked the idea of them moving. So I'm stringing them, the lanterns, and then what I'm going to do is put it'll be a little tricky to show you on camera here, but I'm going to tape the or glue the ribbon behind my triptych here, behind my art, so that when they close up, what I'm going to have it be on the center piece here, kind of at the corner, and then over on the third piece. Now, because I had an extra, what did we want to call them? Lightning bugs, right? I could use some dimensionals to put them on the back, and that will hold that twine in place. If you would rather have your lightning bugs be on the front of your card, you can use another scrap of paper. You could use washi tape or regular tape to kind of hold that piece of blue twine on the back. Okay, so now I have these lanterns that are hanging, and so when someone I've got to first secure it in the back over here, don't I? All right, so I'm going to take, this time I don't think I have any more lightning bugs, so let me see what I could use. I do have another lightning bug. If you don't have a lightning bug, though, go ahead and you can use tape or another scrap of paper to hold that ribbon. But I'm going to go ahead and lock them down with another lightning bug. Does anybody have any questions yet? Can you see where we're kind of going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got these little lanterns, paper lanterns, and they are going to now be suspended. So again, it's a little tricky to show you on camera, but they are hanging now when you open the card. So the card is closed like this. That's how it'll go into the envelope. Then we open it up, and they'll get a little sneak peek. They see part of the fair here, right? And then when they open it, they'll see those lanterns. Now mine have all twisted upside down, but again, I'm not going to let that bother me. I could always color on the back with pencils or markers to kind of make it match. If you only wanted a couple lanterns, you could glue them back to back. For example, there's a purple and a blue one that are kind of more round, and you could put them back to back so that they wouldn't, when they flip over, you can see the other color. But I'm not concerned about that part. I just like when someone opens it, they can flip them over if they want, or when it's hanging, they can see them.
Missy.
Yes.
Would you be able to glue just one side of the handle to the string? So
That's an idea. If we use little, either with the dimensionals or the glue dots so that they wouldn't flip around. Because I did experiment with wrapping the twine around, but it didn't help. Let's try that, Julia. Let me use,
I would use the Tombow glue, actually.
Oh, that's an even better idea. Okay, so let's take I'm going to just take a little dot, not a lot, of my, my Tombow glue, and I'm going to put that twine and just hold it to kind of lock it. This is a great idea, Julia. It will take a little time to dry, so you don't want to close up your card and have it locked there. But that way, when that one opens, it's going to be in the right direction. So, and also that would help you kind of position them along so they don't all clamp up. This is great, Julia. Thank you for that tip. So dot, not a lot. I'll go ahead and put this in place. Now the thing we'll do next is we have some labels, so we can decide what kind of greetings we'd want to put on this, whether you want to save them, stamp them with something that you have, or if you would like to leave them blank so you could personalize it when you need to. Or this would be cool too if you had a favorite photograph, a summertime photograph that you wanted to include. You could put a photograph here. So especially because we've created it kind of. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. Oh, I'm glad to see you. Thanks for all the patience tonight. We keep on learning new things, and that's good. So I love the idea that Julia thought of to secure these to the twine with a little bit of adhesive. And you can see from this angle that they're going to be dangling, and that makes it a really fun, engaging card when someone opens it. So they need, I'll need to kind of fiddle a little bit with their placement, but that is great. Now what we have are these fun labels. And I have a stamp set that I'm going to use that has some great greetings for summertime gatherings, thinking of even though I won't be attending the state fair this year, it's a fun time of year, isn't it? And people enjoy the treats at the fair, the rides, the memories. I have great memories of the butter sculpture and visiting all of the 4-H exhibits and that kind of thing. I even competed once with my dance group at the state fair during junior high, so that was pretty fun too. So this is a stamp that says, "Oh, the summer nights are all alight with everything magic and bright." So this is a fun one for this card that has all of these kind of shiny, sparkly light gold parts on it. So I'm going to stamp that in the center. Again, this would be fun. You could put any kind of personalized greeting here. And then maybe this one could be where you'd have a little photograph, a summer fun photograph. I'm going to pop this up with the dimensionals. And the other greeting in this set that I like so much says, "You light up my life." So I think I'll put that one over by the lightning bugs or the fireflies.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are. "Oh, the summer nights are alight with everything magic and bright." This one I'm just going to leave because I think a little photo would be really fun there, or some other kind of greeting. And then with this label, I'm going to stamp the "You Light Up My Life" image. So let me get that one on my block. I do have a couple of these stamp sets, so if you're interested in investing in this particular summer set, it has some firework images in it. Let me show you here. And another lantern and firefly, and then words for an invitation. You're invited, it's a party, the when, where, and the RSVP. So it's a versatile one. Question? No? Okay. So this one says, "You light up my life."
I was going to ask if you use stamp set.
How much are the stamp sets?
Oh, the stamp sets, it comes in the kit, a paper pumpkin kit that's $20, and it has the stamp set, the spot that I'm using, which is called, is this the black? Yes, Blackberry Bliss is kind of this deep purple color, and this full stamp set, and then supplies to make a bunch of these. I altered the design, I modified it to make it the triptych one, but it comes with the envelopes and the cards not put together like this, so you could make them as postcards. So if you're interested in that, you can message me. I can help you with that. So I'm going to pull off that firefly so I can fit on my greeting here with some dimensionals. "You light up my life." Do you remember the Debbie Boone song from probably, maybe 1976 or something like that?
You light up my life.
That was my favorite song, and I used to sing it loudly as a little 4th grader. There we are, "You Light Up My Life." So again, this one was just sort of a fun collage, put it together as we go along project. You could use these pieces and parts lots of different ways, but I love that now it will be kind of a surprise opening card for someone. But before we finish, you'll notice in your kit there also were these really great stars they're puffy, glittery, adhesive stars, and so we can add those wherever you'd like. And there are also some smaller paper stars, and these are fun too. You can adhere them with dimensionals or adhesive, kind of sprinkle them around. So not knowing exactly what I'm going to do with this space, I might keep my stars and add them as I wish later, but I'm going to go ahead and put one up here. So because I haven't completed this card, generally what I do is if there's extra pieces, I put them inside here, and then I know I have them for later use. I'm going to go ahead and use my fork one more time, or my hair pick, because remember we cut the blue twine in half. We have another half, another 12 inches. So I'm going to make a smaller twine bow, and this is harder to show on camera because the navy blue is dark. But here I'm going to wrap it around. I'm going to take that one that's on top and put it through the middle, over the top, and secure it with a knot. Okay, and then I can slide that off, and I've got my bow. So this one, if I trim off the lengthy pieces here, that could also be added somewhere in my card. So either over here by the greeting, or I like it maybe with the at the top of the mason jar. And so, and if you're careful and cut it differently, you could actually have a piece kind of wrap around and then put this. But I'm just going to go ahead and secure the bow itself at the top of the jar. Mason jars are still super popular in decor for homes, for weddings and parties. I'm amazed. It's been a popular theme for a few years, and I enjoy them. So there you have it. So since I haven't completed my card, when I put it in my envelope, I'm just going to keep these extra pieces, and then I'll have them to complete when I add a photo or something to that. So you'll have to let me know in the comments or in the chat, or just as we're visiting tonight, if you like that idea of having a trifold card. It's sort of special. If you were to mail it, you'd want to have some extra postage because it is quite thick. And you can buy stamps at the post office that include an extra ounce. And often they're used for wedding invitations or other party invitations that are heavy, or you can buy them, put 2 stamps on. However, you can check it out. Our friends at the post office will help you. But something like this, you'd want to be sure to put some extra postage to mail it safely, or hand deliver it as a really special gift. The envelopes that come in that have this fun gold trim, and then the printed piece inside. Okay.
Butterfly.
There we are. Okay, friends, so we'll take a little breath. We're going to finish with a weaving card. And this was a request a few months ago. We did a card using the snail suite. And one of the designs in the catalog at that time was a card that had sort of a woven pattern with the designer series paper, and that was kind of a neat technique, and I promised you we would try that in the future. So what we're going to be doing, I have a few samples to show different ways, but this card kit has this really pretty star paper for you that's gold, a card base, okay, that's white. Again, I folded it so it's the portrait size card, the up and down card, and then it has a little sticker in there that is a banner shape, and so we're going to stamp on that to add to it. It also has some of those really pretty stars. When we made our pinwheel card last month, we used some of these stars, and I love them. Again, they are a hard embellishment, so if you were to mail this, you'd want to put the extra postage on there so that it could be hand canceled. But again, they're really pretty for hand-delivered cards as well. Then you have a bunch of these little strips. So as I prepared for the pinwheel card, I kept a pile of all the strips. And I do this when I work with designer series paper or cardstock. Here's some from a nautical project I was working on in black and white. And so you just have all these little pieces and parts. You can keep them in a bag or put them in a mug. It's kind of like a bouquet of paper. But then you've got all these little strips that are handy for different elements on a card. And in this case, we're taking 10 pieces of the strip, and we're going to weave them. So I mentioned at the start that we'd be using some washi tape tonight. If you don't have washi tape handy, you can still use regular tape, or you can just just take your time so that the pieces don't shift too much. But I find it useful to use the the washi tape. Now, the designer series paper we're using tonight, this pretty Christmas paper, holiday paper, is has gold on one side, some gold foiling on one side. I don't know how well it'll show on the camera to see that, but you can see some sparkle. Isn't that lovely? And then the other side is colorful red or green or the creamy white colors. So you get to pick, and you can flip and flop your pieces because you have different ones to work with. Like, since I use the trees with the gold there, I can flip this one over and have the candy canes. You can do it any way you like. You're going to line up 5 of them. Okay. And I'm going to use my tape to just secure them across the top, this washi tape. And that'll just hold those in place for while I do my weaving. And then I have 5 other pieces. And again, I chose to just do it without a lot of rhyme or reason. I just want there to be all of these papers coordinate, so I don't really have to worry about the order in which I'm putting them. So I'll give you a moment if you want to work along with me to pick out 5 of your stripes of the paper and position those. Okay. And then we're going to weave. Now, we talked earlier about textiles. Some people love to work with yarn, to knit or crochet. Some people love textiles to do quilting projects or other sewing projects. And so it's fun when there's an overlap of interest, right? So in this case, we're using paper, but traditionally weaving would be done with fabric or with yarn. So basically, it's an under, over, under, over, under, over, etc. pattern. So because this first one, the stripe pattern went under first, this red pattern is going to go over first. And as I need to, I can lift the papers from the bottom and move them. It's like I don't have a loom, but I'm kind of creating a finger loom with lifting and lifting and centering. Next, let's try, I've got this, this one is really pretty with the presents on it and those little gold stars and gold stripes. So because that's over, now I'm going to start under and just keep lifting. You don't have to race. This is another thing kind of like fussy cutting or watercoloring where you can just enjoy the meditative quality of doing something like this that's repetitive. It's good for our bodies to slow down. I find it really satisfying because it's creating a pattern, and the repetition appeals to me.
This goes in first.
Okay. So now I'll take my my stars, and I'm starting with over, and then under, over, under, over. Now I'll keep doing that till I have 5 horizontal and 5 vertical. And you'll see my washi tape didn't hold too well on this foam, but it did help keep those 5 pieces kind of centered. And here's where you'll have a lot of choice. For this first sample that I have here, I left the papers hang over a little bit from the weaving, and I cut them. So it's kind of like fringe on the along the edge here. Okay. Here's another example where I simply cut off all of the extra pieces. Now you have to be careful. It's a little fragile here because I haven't glued it yet, and it could come apart. But in this case, I just cut so that it's a clean edge at around there. Another strategy is to fold the pieces behind. So for example, let's see, I'll do that on my sample right here. What I can do, make it so you can see a little bit easier, I hope, is I can fold the strips over. So I can just kind of, it's going to lock the paper in place that way if I fold them. And I can go all the way around and fold and so on all the way around. And that's going to kind of help lock the pieces together, but it is going to make kind of a challenge at the back. I'm going to have a lot of different pieces. So what I can do is glue these, take my adhesive and kind of lock them down, the ones that I folded over. And you'll notice our projects tonight are all kind of like, you sort of figure out what works for you, right? There aren't I could show you the way that I'm doing it and maybe give you some alternatives, but it's really for you to feel out what's comfortable for you. So if you don't want to do this glue step, you can just cut along the edges and not have them be secured with glue. You could also take washi tape or Scotch tape and just lock it down. Just put the tape right across the strips across the back, and that will keep it from moving, right? So in this case, I'm just taking my washi tape and just gonna, the back's not going to show, so I'm gonna just cover it up with that tape, or like I said, you could use Scotch tape too. And then I don't have to worry about the pieces coming out from those edges. That's probably the easiest way to do it. The folding way appeals to me because it's kind of like when you make baskets in real life with, basket reeds. That's how they get turned in. Let me see. Oh, that's lovely, Julia. Aren't the colors fun, how the gold just kind of sparkles?
Yeah, I did it so that there was like a red and then a green and then a red and then a green.
Excellent. That looks beautiful. So at this point is when you decide if you want to have your pieces kind of come out like a fringe, and you could cut them. I think the original sample we looked at had them cut at different angles. So they were cut, the pieces that were hanging out were kind of cut with different angles showing here. And it's a little more whimsical maybe, or a little just less patterned here. Can you see how they're just cut differently? So it's up to you what kind of effect you want. If you want sort of the straight line woven, like a pot holder, kind of looks like it's woven, right? Or if you want to have those edges kind of be a little more loose.
Now, what if you cut them into little strings at the end so that you had like a fringe?
Oh, I love that idea. Let's try that on one of these sides too, so you can see what Julie is suggesting. That's fun. So what we'll do is just using the paper snips carefully, kind of snip, snip, snip at the edge, and that's going to make it have that little bit of fringe. And again, it may be tricky to see on camera. Let me do it with a couple different colors that may show better. So I'm just snipping carefully, snip, snip along, and then using my thumb and finger to kind of fluff them up a little bit. You can see that. That's a clever trick. It looks like a rug kind of, or a woven mat, right? Mm-hmm. So have fun experimenting. This, obviously in your kit tonight, you just have these 10 little strips, but I bet in your home you could use magazine. If you don't have designer series paper, you can use magazines or even newspaper that, like we get the junk mail that comes that has those colorful inserts. And it's amazing how a large piece of advertisement, when you cut it into these half-inch strips, it's remarkable the variety you can get of color and patterns. So I challenge you to use some of the, recycle some of the things that might already be in your home to play around with this technique, and hopefully that's a lot of fun. If you're not really interested in weaving.
Oh, we lost your sound again. That's weird. Missy, can you hear us? I'm guessing she can't hear us either.
To show you.
Oh, you're back in now. We lost your sound for a second then.
Okay, welcome back. Sorry about that. I'm just saying, if you don't want to weave, you can still use your strips. Here I'm using some from my nautical pack, but I'm just going to lay them in a pattern like this on my card front, perhaps. So if you're, I love the weaving effect, and I think it's kind of a clever twist with textile, giving a tease toward fabric, even though it's paper, but you could always use your strips just as a vertical or horizontal pattern in this case. So because we're using Christmas paper tonight and we have our deer and some holly and our stars, we will stamp with a Merry Christmas. And this is the stamp set we also used last time called Peaceful Deer. My favorite greeting in here is, let's see, where does it say the deer? Yes, wishing you a wonderful year and friendships dear, D-E-A-R. So dear friendships to a dear friend, using the deer is kind of a fun play on words. But we'll use the Merry Christmas stamp tonight to stamp onto that banner. So I'm going to put it onto my clear block, and then we'll use the Memento black ink. And this little banner you could use to put someone's name or a date that's important to you, or handwrite a little message. In this case, we're going to fit on this Merry Christmas greeting. Okay. Merry Christmas. There we go. And then on the inside, we can put the greeting that says, sending love and peace this season, or wishing you a wonderful year and friendships dear. So let's use that one since we'll have a deer on the front of our card. And this stamp set also coordinates with a punch so that you can punch out deer shapes. And I'm going to just flip the inside of my card quickly so I can do this stamping, and then we'll go back and finish our assembly. So here's wishing you a wonderful year and friendships dear. I love that. All right. So our star piece we can put on, you'll notice it has just a hint of the white border around the edge. I'm going to go ahead and pop that up on dimensionals just to give a little more height and texture here to the card. And when I do that, I tend to put at least 5 dimensionals, 1 in each corner and 1 in the center to help buoy that, that's the middle. It's nice to see you here tonight, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us with the technical glitches. There we are. So we have Merry Christmas. And then we can take the deer. Let me start with I'm going to use this one here where I trimmed them off evenly, and I'm going to put it at a diagonal. Now, you can design, it's kind of like a quilt pattern. You can put it any way you like, straight, diagonally, kind of on its edge, however you like. I do like it square like that. I think I will leave it square, and I'll put my deer on there. Do I have a deer tonight? You should have a deer in your packet.
You have a deer on the...
I already have my deer on this one.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take him off right there, but he would go into the middle here, and you can pop him up with dimensionals. Let's go ahead and do that. This first sample that I made, you'll notice the strips are different widths, and that just creates a different aesthetic to the weaving. And as you experiment yourself, you can decide if you like that effect. Here I've got some more narrow strips, and this again is just a great way to use your supply. Use odds and ends. You might think, oh, that's just a little strip, I'm going to put it in the recycling. And believe me, I do that sometimes too, because you can get overrun with scraps. But it's fun to work with the little tiny pieces and turn them into something else. You'll see I put 3 of those lovely stars on there. 1, 2, 3. When it's in a triangle pattern like that, it's going to help our eyes move around the card. And of course, the deer is the star of the show here. He's our focal point.
That's nice. I love the stars. They do make it.
Aren't they wonderful? And echoing the pattern of the stars and the paper, and really the little bits of gold in the paper. So much fun. Now for our envelope, I'm going to use this bit of holly. Did we figure out last time if this was mistletoe, or I think it's holly because of the red berries. I'm just going to put that in the corner of my envelope to give a little hint about what's inside. And so I hope that's going to inspire you to use some scraps that you have in your home, either from paper projects or, like I said, take a flyer from the Sunday paper and cut it into thin strips and see what you can do. Again, you can isolate different colors when you're working with the advertisements and create a pattern that you love. All right, friends, so we've been busy tonight. Let's take a look. We have our strawberry card and our Merry Christmas Dear card and our triptych. I'm going to pull that one back out again with the lightning bugs and the fairgrounds and those. So again, that one's hard to show you how it's going to dance when we open it. Those lanterns are going to be able to come out, kind of pop out into the card. And so I think that will engage the recipient. Julia, thanks again for that great tip to secure the lanterns with just a dot, not a lot of the adhesive, and that will keep them from flipping over. So I'll be curious to see how you complete your cards with greetings or with photos. This, I think, would just be a really delightful card for a summertime birthday or a thinking of you, or someone who's missing the fair and you just want to give them some joy at this time of year.
Yep.
I also liked that the ladybug kind of anchors, not the ladybug, the lightning bug anchors that twine in the back. So it just gives another little tease about the card. So thanks for sticking with us tonight and having fun playing. We look forward to September 9th. That will be our next online Zoom class with the library. And look forward to meeting you or seeing you again once we can join each other at the library in person. It's been 14 years or more since we've been sharing, partnering at the library, and so I give great thanks to Julia and all the team at the Baldwinsville Public Library for coordinating this and for providing the kits while we've been doing these online classes so that you can have these complimentary kits. So be watching for the next one for September 9th. Thanks, Julia, again for all your help. We appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you guys next month. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Now it's working.
Good night.
Good night.